Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Caleb, and today we're going to be taking a look at stability. So this is the way the module looks. It's got a series of different LEDs and a 6x6 grid that are going either on or off. There is going to be six different states for each of these guys, and 3 of them currently will be on. Along with 6 LEDs on the side here, and we have our little information at the top here, which I'll explain in just a second. So what our goal is our goal is to figure out how many times we need to press a specific LED on this grid here, and whether it needs to be on or off based off of the colors of the LEDs of the strips. So let's get right into this. So this module contains 3 important things. A display with 3 numbers on it, so we have the 5.12 in this little highlight here. We have 2814, which is going to be our ID, which we'll get into later. And this is going to be our current stability, the larger. It's also referred to as the natural stability, the box number, which I'll explain what that means in just a second. And we have a 6x6 pixel grid that cycles through 6 different states, and 6 LEDs that can be on or off, and can be 3 different colors. So that's the way how we're going to determine how many LEDs we currently have, and if they're currently on with the colors. There will always be 6 LEDs, by the way. What we need to do is we need to determine how many of them are on. In this case, that's all 6 of them actually have a color with them. And if they happen to not be colored, the way that you'll know that you won't have to interact with them is if they are black. You'll see that hopefully in another soon. So the objective is to fully stabilize the explosives underneath the module, and as of right now, they are only partially stabilized. So we need to do the other one. So the monitor contains 3 important pieces, which we just said: the current stability, the natural stability, and the identification number, which is the small 4-digit number, which we're going to be using quite importantly on this top left here. The explosives are unstable when the current stability strays at least 0.04 units over the natural stability. So what this means is that if we take a look, the current stability is 5.19 and our natural stability is 5.12. If it happens to go above, if it happens to go 0.04 units above over its natural stability, that means it will turn red, as you can see right here. 0.17 is more than is 0.4, at least 0.4 more than 0.12. So that's the way that you're going to be able to determine this. And any interaction with the module during that time will result in a strike. So we want to make sure that the stability is green when we interact with the module. So we have to keep that in mind. That's why there's going to be 6 different states for each of these LEDs, because of the fact that there is always this random time of stability that can mess you up. So 2 to 6 LED strips will be lit in the next grid, and a strip can be red, yellow, or blue. Any other color, or in this case black, will be off, essentially. And the pixel grid cycles through 6 different states, and each pixel is on light green for 3 states and off for 3 states in a random order. It will always be a completely random order, and there is no real point of giving you the read of each of the individual lights, and it's going to be solely based off of almost reflex. But there is always the case of which you can come back to it, or you can wait for it to cycle around, because this current stability is going to be a bit of an annoying pest for submitting this stuff into the module. So keep that in mind. So now we're going to get into the actual work of this. So what we need to do is we need to take a look at each of the LEDs based off of these tables here, and you might be wondering, why are there only 4 different tables for each of these positions? Well, we're going to be using the 5th and the 6th later on, so those will be different steps instead of using a table, and for the first few steps we're going to take a look at this. So what we need to do is we need to use the table's ID number and the colored strips to press squares on the grid corresponding to their strips. And commands must be done from top to bottom. They will always be top to bottom with the LEDs, so in this case our order for strips will be yellow, red, blue, blue. And now I'm immediately going to note down our ID number too, 2814, so that we can determine these first 4 steps pretty easily. And if a correct square is pressed, the corresponding strip will turn green. And pressing the wrong squares, pressing the right squares at the wrong times, or pressing anything when the explosives are unstable will result in strikes, and a new ID number will be given. Keep that in mind. And once all correct squares are pressed, the current stability will drop to 0, fully stabilized, and the module will disarm. You'll see that at the end. So now, what exactly do we do with this? So what we need to do is we need to essentially figure out which position we're going to be pressing this each individual square, and whether we need to do it on or off, which is going to be marked I with on and O with off. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the position of the color. So this is going to be the first table that we're going to use. So we're going to take a look at the first position here, which is going to be yellow. So yellow is going to be our first row here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to correspond it to the first position of the ID number, which is 2. And now our first position is going to be delta 3 when it is on. So delta 3 when it is on, because of that I. Now, one of the things that I have to point out immediately is a couple things are different with this table. So if we take a look, where is it? If we take a look, now one thing to keep in mind is that A1 is top left, and the letter is the row, number is the column. So instead of it normally being like A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, it's instead going to be A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. Or excuse me, 1, 2, 3 right here. So we need to click this, delta 3, this is our current delta 3 when it's on, and when it is fully stabilized. So we can do it right now, like that. The LED turns green, that means our position was correctly pressed. So that's one thing that's very important, and it's very different about this module, is the fact that A1 is top left, and the letter is the row, and the number is the column. It sort of does an Uno reverse card on you, and it throws you off with the letters being the row and numbers being the column. It's something that's normal, and I believe this is the only module in which that case actually applies. Of course, I could be wrong, but I digress. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the second position. We're going to use red as our column, red as our row, excuse me, and 8 is our column. 8 is our column. So we're going to do Bravo 6 when it is off. So Bravo 6 when it is off. Bravo 6 off. So let's do that. So we go A, B, and then all the way to the end. Bravo 6 when it's off, and of course when it's fully stabilized, right now, like so. That's step 2 done. Next up, we'll do yellow. And it will immediately tell you if the correct position that you pressed is correct based off of it turning to green LED. If it's wrong, it will immediately give you a strike and it won't save you for the end. So next up, yellow, and the next ID is going to be a 1, 2, 8, 1, third position. So now we're going to click echo 4 when it's off. So A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4 when you're off, like that. And now for our fourth position, we're going to do a red, and the fourth ID number is going to be a 4, Foxtrot 6. So Foxtrot 6 is simply just bottom right, as we would suspect, and when that's going to be off, when it's fully stabilized, like so. Okay, so now, as you can see, we would normally run out of ID numbers here, so now we have to use steps 5 and 6 for these last 2 blue LEDs. So that's where this is going to come into play, and that's why we only have 4 different tables, because there are only 4 digits in our ID number. So for the fifth one, we're going to add up all the digits of the identification number. We're still going to be using the identification number, but it's in its own different way. So we're going to add up all the digits of the identification number. So let's actually do that. So let's do our handy dandy calculator, pop you out. So we have 2 plus 8 plus 1 plus 4 is going to give us 15. So now we're going to press that square on the grid in reading order. So this is going to be normal. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I like to do multiples of 6 here. So we have 6, 12. Then moving on to our next row, 13, 14, and 15. So we have 15 right here, which is a Charlie 3. So Charlie 3. But now, do we need to press it on or off? If the strip is blue, we're going to press the square when it's off. Just like that, it is blue, so we're going to be pressing U when you're off. And now, if it was red or yellow, we would press it when it's on. And if the outcome is 0, any square can be pressed. So to keep that in mind. And now, let's do that. So Charlie 3 when it's off, like that. So now we're doing one more press. We're going to add up all the digits of the identification number again and subtract it from 36. This is where that thing is different. So we got 15 from our previous result. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do 36 minus that 15 we got, which is going to be 21. And now we're going to press that square in the grid in reading order. So we'll do 6, 12, 18 right here, 19, 20, 21, which in this case is going to be a delta 3. So delta 3 for our last press, delta 3. And do we need to do on or off? If the strip is blue or yellow, press the square when it is off. So off. So we're going to be pressing delta 3 when it's off. We just missed it. Just like that. And now the timer counts down, and this means that this module is done. And the explosives below have been taken care of.
Is the right answer.
That module is stabilized. So let's go over one more example, and hopefully we can get a bit of an easier one, but at least we got all 6 LEDs, so that I was able to cover them all. And of course, if the outcome is 0, any square can be pressed. So that rule is very rare to happen. It can happen. So let's take a look at one final result. But that's it, basically. It's not as complicated as it looks. There is a lot of reading involved in it, and there is a lot of steps that go into it, and all of it has to do, with how you submit the module. But just keep in mind there are a couple things you have to pay attention to. Number one, you cannot submit when the module is red. When that stuff is red at the top, that means you cannot submit it, and because of the fact that it is currently not stable enough to submit it, or what was it? It's the explosives are unstable, yeah. So we can't submit it during that time.
There's only one perfect solution.
Oh, and just like here,
I'll
yeah.
choose
So
the
this
right
LED
trick
is
or tea.
black. So this means that we simply skip over it, and we're only looking at 5 colored strips this time around. So that's perfect. So we have blue, blue, yellow, red, and blue. And we have an ID number of 9736. So we're at least going to have to get down to the 5th step, but we won't have to do the 6th step. That's perfect. So now let's go through this again. So we got blue, and our first ID number is a 9, so it's going to be echo 3 when it's off. So we'll click echo 3. A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3 when it's off. Not now, because it's currently red. When it's off, like so. Next up, we have blue, and the second ID number is a 7. It's going to be delta 5 when it's on. So delta 5, so A, B, C, D, 2, 3, 4, 5 when it's on. I just missed it. There we go. And next up, the third one is going to be yellow when it is and number 3 in that position. So that's going to be alpha 6, which is off, which is going to be the top right. So when it's off, I messed up. So as we can see now, we have a new ID number, and that was on purpose totally. So we have an ID number of now 5100. However, if we take a look, this simply means, if we take a look, we have these 2 guys that have already been pressed. So that means we simply do not need to worry about that anymore. It only affects the steps that are currently later on. So now, we're going to use yellow again as a row here, but we're going to be using 0 instead because our ID number changed, and it's going to be changing for each of the steps further on. So now what we need to do is we need to press Foxtrot 3 when it's on. So A, B, C, D, E, F, 2, 3, so not now, but when it's on. When it's, there we go, and it's just like that. It proceeds to continue on. And then for our final little table that we use here, it's going to be red and a 0, delta 5 when it's off. So delta 5, so A, B, C, D, 2, 3, 4, 5. Delta 5 when it's off. We just missed it there. I'm going to wait for the stability to be taken care of. Come on, become stable. Just like that. And finally, for our last one, we're going to add all the digits of the identification number, and we're going to press that square in create the grid in reading order. And the strip is blue. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 5, 1. So it's going to be a 6. So we're going to press the 6 in reading order. And if the strip is blue, which it is, we're going to press the square when it's off. So the 6 in reading order is going to be simply the top right when it's off. So as we can see, right, not now, don't do it. So let's wait for it to become stable again. Just like that. We let the timer run down, and just like that is a solved module. There we go. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and stay stabilized. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.